Two, one, action. We are live, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the show.
Yes, and today we're going to be talking about retarded ass fucking Europeans. Because what can't we not talk about at this point in time? Because Europeans, well, they're the scum of the earth, and honestly speaking, I have no feelings for them whatsoever, other than disdain and hatred. Sorry, I had to layer it on there real thick, real quick, because that whole exchange on Twitter earlier was just fucking hilarious. But it goes to show one particular thing. That these people are freaking out so hard about their loss of control that they just have no fucking clue what to do. Like, they're beside themselves, realizing that they no longer control the world, and the rest of the world is turning their guns towards them. And it scares the unliving shit out of them.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't really want to get into the weeds of the exchange on Twitter itself, but I kind of want to get into some particular things to do with the geopolitics at play with this, and like how this is going to influence things as we go, especially given the integration of these populations in the U.S. Because we kind of discussed it, and Dale. I brought it up earlier, the whole Freedom City project.
Right.
Again, giving us the infrastructure to be able to integrate a massive population that is here completely, like, and this is the fucked up part about it, is that, people have just gone onto this bandwagon, like, no, we just need to expel everybody, period in the story, we just need to expel everybody. I'm like, if they've gone through the naturalization process and they've they came through the border checkpoint. They filled out the paperwork. They got their green card. They went through the naturalization process. I'm like, I'm sorry. Like, they have as much right to be here as you do.
Mm-hmm.
So at the end of the day, it's like, no, you don't get to kick those people out. Now, if you want to talk about the illegals and you want to talk about visa holders and shit like that, like, okay, yeah, we can kick them out. Like, honestly speaking, we can just get rid of those people. But, actual naturalized individuals, no, they're here to stay. And one of the key things that I really, really, really need to hammer home is we do not have the fucking infrastructure to sustain the people that we have naturalized. And thus, the Freedom City project, of course, there's going to be the Western conservationist crowd. There's going to be all pissy and all butthurt because federal lands are being used to build new cities and shit like that. But it's like, human resources are literally the most important resource you can have control of, period, in a story. And if these people are here actually fucking doing what they should be doing and actually assimilating into the country, I don't give a shit.
Hey, Warhead, I got a quick question.
Go ahead.
Can we name one of those new cities Night City?
Nice. No, that's what we'll rename Los Angeles after we bring it back into compliance.
Yes.
And I love using that turn of phrase on purpose. Bring them back into compliance, or bring them into compliance, I should say, because I had a couple people who saw it and were like, wait a minute, is that a 40K reference? And I'm like, good job, bud, you got it. So, but yeah, no, it's going to be a process. There's going to be a lot of trials with it. There's going to be a lot of trials because, the number of people that we're going to end up kicking out of the country, like, I can only imagine how many motherfuckers have been told that their visas have been revoked recently.
Yep.
Like, honestly speaking, there's probably millions of motherfuckers that have been told your visa's been revoked, you have to leave the country.
Mm-hmm.
And fucking ICE is also, ramping up operations. Have you guys heard any of the recruiting numbers recently? Because I heard something that recruiting for ICE is up like 20-30% or something like that, but I haven't been able to see any hard numbers.
Interesting.
I saw a story today saying that they got 2,000 applicants in Texas alone.
Yeah, I was gonna
Nice.
say try adding a 0 to that.
Okay.
I've been hearing upwards of 300%.
Okay, well there we go. And the fun part is that, you know, you have all this shit going on. And as we build out the infrastructure to be able to actually assimilate and actually integrate populations across the board, because let's face it, you know, Detroit, very, very important thing that a lot of people need to understand is Detroit was built to sustain a population of 1.8 million people. It currently has less than 700,000. Their infrastructure is falling apart. It is crumbling across the board, and they can't afford to do the work on it that they need to do on it. And thus, that's where, you know, William, you're up there, Flint, Michigan.
Oh, you're from
There's a
Flint?
reason why Flint, Michigan went to shit in a handbasket. He's not from Flint, but he's close enough.
Do you know if they ever fixed the water situation down there, or is it still as bad
No.
as it was? No.
No, it's unfixable. You have to tear out the entire lower underground system to fix it and replace it.
So is the water
Yeah,
still flammable?
No, the water's not flammable. Unless, well, depending on which family lives there, but no, it's not. Yeah, the short answer on infrastructure in Michigan is it's 50 years out of date because it was built to 1950s Rush standards. During the building boom in between like 53 to 62-ish.
Yep.
That's when most of southeastern Michigan was built. And in the 1980s, they basically stopped maintaining it.
Yep.
So it's just falling apart.
Yeah, and it is a cautionary tale of, you know, we need to build these cities as efficiently as possible. We have to build them in a way that allows for easy maintenance of the infrastructure. Like as I was talking to Mitch and William last night, you know, me and Gavin, as we sit and we discuss the Arcadia project, and the concept that we want to build that project out, you know, having all underground infrastructure that's easily accessible, that is, you know, you can walk down there and like, oh, that pipe's leaking. Okay, we can shut down this main and that main, drain this section, and then we can, you know, slap in a new section of piping and so on and so forth. That's something that distinctly needs to be a part of the building process in order to make it so that the new infrastructure for these new cities is as good as possible and as easily maintainable as possible, so that it cuts down on costs. You know, and then places like Detroit, for example, they frankly speaking need to be depopulated and then rebuilt from the ground up. Like the amount of deconstruction that needs to happen around Detroit to not only bring it forward in time, but also get rid of a lot of the shit that they don't fucking need anymore. It's a real thing. And unfortunately, let's face it, the majority of American cities are like that. The vast majority. So
Yeah.
Yeah. So is there a reason why they stopped maintaining Detroit in the 80s?
Money.
yeah,
Money and lack of care.
Yeah.
From
And when the automotive industry took a dive after we started importing cars.
I see.
Yeah, also had to pave the way for Delta City.
Well, okay, real quick. I do need to make this very clear. It's not that yes, the automotive industry took a dive, but it was because the automotive industry moved out of Detroit into the suburb areas. So they moved out into the neighboring communities away from the higher taxation of Detroit. And what that resulted in is that Detroit lost a shit ton of money just through that. But then the population started decreasing rapidly after that.
And I've also heard mention that if you want to mark the real start of the decline of Detroit, you could go back to the race riots like back around 1968 and said that's when you could pretty well mark the start of the decline, because shortly after that's when they started importing Japanese cars and had the first Arab oil embargo, and yeah, it was just downhill from there.
You had the combination of the oil embargoes, you had tariffs on vehicles, you had the government subsidies on American-made vehicles, where the quality went down the tubes because they didn't have any competition.
Right.
And then you also had as the economy in that area went downhill, anybody that had enough money to get out got out, and it just spiraled out of control.
Yep. Now, going into the future, as we start looking towards, getting these populations not only just moved, but back to working, back to contributing to the overall economy of the country, there's going to be a lot of growing pains with it, especially with the drug trade. That's why it's so important that, even though our favorite little Estonian gremlin is freaking out because we just, obliterated 11 drug traffickers off the coast of Venezuela, we're going to have a lot of teething problems with the populations from these areas. But honestly speaking, these are the first populations we need to help. They're the first ones. Mm-hmm. Because right now they're not contributing nearly as much as they could be. And if we help them, the assimilation and the actual, feeling of belonging to something is going to vastly improve the condition of those communities. I think it's one of the primary things we need to focus on. Again, the actual integration of these populations, which, was completely stalled by, the likes of the civil rights movement and the forced early desegregation that, a lot of people might find that odd. Like, well, how did that not help integration? Well, the problem is that we weren't ready for it. Just like how we weren't ready to abolish slavery on a whim and introduce a massive population that, inevitably ended up being the poorest part of the population in the country. Like, let's be completely frank about it. If we had done a slow emancipation and slowly emancipated people over time in waves, it would have given us the time in order to integrate these people into the country. Whereas just straight up abolishing slavery, that was the first blow against the blacks in this country that prevents them from actually being able to be part of the country.
Yeah, and
then it just
to drive the point home, after for the few decades after slavery had ended, a whole bunch of the black population just straight up died in the U.S. because it's okay, they're free. Now what?
Yeah.
Right. So
the amount
of them just died.
Famine, exposure.
Yep.
The number. How many stories have we heard about 40 acres and a mule? Mm-hmm. Yeah, in theory it was a good idea, but the problem is that you had people that didn't know how to run a farm. A day laborer on a farm doesn't know how to run a farm.
Yes, just because pick a crop doesn't mean you know how to plant or doesn't mean you know how to do the whole cycle of planting it, raising it up, etc.
Yeah,
selling it.
Yeah, it's the whole concept of give a man a fish, feed him for a day, teach a man how to fish, feed him for the rest of his life.
Exactly.
The same concept. But, you know, it's an unfortunate fact that, you know, one, the people, and we're speaking to the moderates here. You know, the Puritans on the left are going to freak out because how dare you talk bad about our hired help? You know, that's their mentality. Mm-hmm. And then the evangelical and Wignat crowd are mad at us because, you know, how dare you talk about integrating these people with us, you know, these dirty, unwashed masses. We're speaking to the moderates here. We're speaking just frankly and candidly, because at the end of the day, the tough conversation about it needs to be fucking had. You know, I'm sick and tired of, you know, having to pussyfoot around these topics and not actually be able to have a hardcore actual conversation about them, because I want to see this country fucking succeed. I want to see this country literally, like, imagine this. Only 70% of the population, 70% of the population of this country was integrated, truly integrated, for over 100 and, you know, let's say 120, 130 years, give or take.
That sounds about right. Yeah.
And we were as successful and as prosperous as we were with only 70%. Oh God, imagine if we could get that last 30% done. Mm-hmm. We would be unchallenged. You know, get fuel or get energy prices as low as possible. Get as much mid and high level manufacturing as possible going. Actually push out the onerous bureaucrats that continuously prevent us from actually being able to push these policies. We would be untouchable as a nation. Nobody would be able to challenge us. The EU could federalize, and they would still be sitting there wondering, okay, so how do we compete with the Americans? We don't. Their economy is 6 times ours, and they have a population that actually lets them fucking run that economy. We can't compete. Oh, by the way, we also, you know, the U.S. also has, you know, like 8 times the gold that the EU has in reserve. So, you know, fuck them.
Yeah.
But it's just a simple fact that, like, this conversation needs to be fucking had. And the more we dance around it, like as if it's the, you know, the what's the word I'm like, it's the forbidden fruit, you know, it's the forbidden topic. We're not allowed to talk about the blacks like this, you know, this is the blacks are going to get angry if we talk about them like this. No, I'm being 100% serious when I say the majority of the black population wants to have this conversation.
Yeah.
They want to be able to fucking work, and they actually want to be able to prosper. Because right now, the only way they get to prosper is if either they're a rapper and they got out of the hood and were able to make a shit ton of money as a rapper, or if they're a drug dealer. Like, that's the only time they get to actually truly prosper in these big cities. It's the only time. Otherwise, they're working the basic old 9-to-5 corporate job at best, and at worst, they're stuck in a fucking they're stuck in a service kitchen at a fucking fast food restaurant.
Yeah.
Yeah, from what I've heard, up until, you know, the devil himself, Lyndon Johnson, became president and tried his implemented his Great Society deal and welfare system and like that the prosperity of, like, the average black family was on a steady upward trajectory, to where in another couple of decades they would have been equal with the average middle class white family. But here comes Lyndon Johnson, implements the Great Society and the housing projects and the welfare system, to where they were basically paying them to sit on their butts
Yeah.
And where it started breaking up black families because, let's be honest, the mothers were getting paid to sit on their ass and have kids without a father around.
Yep. The system
And
penalized them for having a father. Like, they paid them less.
yes,
Absolutely. It's exactly what was done.
Well,
Yep.
well, I'll point this out real quick. You notice a trend, right?
Mm-hmm.
From the 1860s, fast forward to the 1920s. Blacks had absolutely blossomed in many parts of the fucking world, or many parts of the U.S. My bad. And then Tulsa, the center of black economics and finances in the country, and then Democrats burned it down to the ground.
Yep.
Just wholesale fucking burned it. We still don't know where all the gold that was in those banks is at. We still have no fucking clue. Nobody does.
Could be
And
a
then-
$4, honestly.
No, I doubt it. I suspect the sheriff and his posse stowed it away, and it's funneled its way through banks and shit like that. Similar to how the Nazis funneled all their gold into Switzerland, and because the Swiss, they value their financial system so much, they still have a shit ton of gold that is technically Nazi gold, but the Swiss are like, no, sorry, like we have possession of this gold now. Fuck you. Like, we value our financial system.
Until you have the proper account passwords, we can't help you.
Yeah, yeah. Which I do love the Swiss for that, because it's like, thank God you stand on business. But the simple fact is that okay, we have the 1860s to the 1920s, and then that basically that instantly reset the blacks when it came to their prosperity, because instantaneously there was a massive wave of distrust of blacks, because unfortunately soft power was in the power of the corrupt whites within the Democrat Party. And then fast forward to the 1960s, same shit, literally same shit, different fucking, just a different flag. We force them into a breadcrumbs situation, and then we perpetuate that breadcrumb situation for as long as possible to get them comfortable. Get them obedient, and then they won't cause a problem. English socialism 101.
Right. Well, there was also that famous quote from LBJ when he said, I'm going to have to note down, I have to bleep this, but he said something akin to, with the welfare program, I'll have these niggas voting Democrat for the next 200 years or something like that.
Oh, he said that word for word.
Yep. Yeah, it's almost like the Puritans aren't friendly to the other coloreds of the world. It's almost like they're as racist can come, anyways.
It's now basically 60 years later, looking at the election results from the last 2 or 3 elections, that as a community, they're starting to wake up and realize, hey, we got fucked over.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's the thing is now, they're look at we look at the abortion stuff. The vast majority of abortions throughout Planned Parenthood's history, for example, were targeting black communities.
Yep.
Really weird.
I mean, its
again,
founder was a eugenicist who hated blacks.
Yeah, it's almost like she was. I wonder why she did that. But then I wonder why the Democrats support Planned Parenthood so much. But then you go forward and you have the 90s, which the blacks were starting to kind of wake up to things, and then you had Rodney King.
Mm-hmm.
Remember, like during that early time period, the late 80s, early 90s, there was a discussion going on about, hey, how can we improve the situation of people? And then all of a sudden, Rodney King, which was elevated to the upteenth fucking degree. That was, I'm telling you right now, like Rodney King, looking at that, then looking at the Ferguson riots, looking at the George Floyd riots and so on and so forth. It's fucking sequential.
Oh, and
it is absolutely sequential.
Yeah, one other important thing I think you missed about the 80s, especially about the 80s, certain three-letter agencies decided to start selling certain substances in certain communities in order to,
weird.
Yes.
Weird. Yeah, weird.
Certain illegal substances.
But the point is that, so you have this collection of things that, again, the Puritans, they just want the hired help. They let's face it, fucking Hillary Clinton had house slaves, effectively.
Yes.
When she was the first lady of Arkansas, she had house slaves. They even dressed them up to look like house slaves. Like, I'm sorry, that was a way too on the nose, in my opinion.
That was a little, yeah, it was a little something there.
Yeah, and the simple fact
that was a pretty big thing in the South back in the day to have hired help.
Oh, that's
but the
still
point, yeah. But the point is that they just wanted the hired help. They didn't want this. They didn't want this group of people prospering. They just wanted them to be the hired help, second-class citizens. That's all they were to them. And so, as we prepare to launch into this new era, where we have dismantled European control of our financial systems, we've dismantled the Democrats' money funnel that causes or gives them the capability to cause these issues. Like, notice how every little protest that they try to throw up, people don't show the fuck up at this point. And if anybody does show up, it's a bunch of old white women.
Yes.
That does tend to be yes.
Yeah, because certain money taps have been shut down within the past few months.
And people, I had an exchange on Twitter where I had a bunch of fucking old white women come out of the woodwork attacking me. And I was like, holy shit, you're not beating the stereotype. You're not beating the allegations. You're all a bunch of fucking privileged little fucking old white ladies that think that you're something special just because you're a fucking Puritan. And in reality, will string you up alongside the Wignats.
Mm-hmm. And also one other, I think, reason to note why it's only like old white ladies is because they're also the only demographic that still watches CNN and MSNBC. It's like
they also have free time.
So they're the only ones getting the constant Trump is Hitler propaganda bombarded into their addled brains. Everyone else doesn't watch those networks, and they don't care. They don't go to these stupid protests.
They have the most free time to do nothing.
That's also true.
And then the media helps out when they come to cover said protests. It only has like maybe 20 people by placing the camera shots to where they try to give the impression that there are hundreds of people there.
So I can point out how they do it because I do have a little bit of a hobby in filmography, so I can tell you how they do it. The lower the shots are, the more they're trying to make it appear like there's more people.
Right.
So if they have the shot over the heads of people, that means there was more people and they need to be able to capture the image. But if there's less people and they don't want people to realize that there were less people, they bring the shot lower.
Mm-hmm.
That's how they make it. That's how they're able to doctor it up. Because, for example, there was a protest outside of a ICE facility in LA that happened, I believe it was about 3 weeks ago now or so.
Mm-hmm.
And they claimed that over 500 people showed up. It was only like 50.
Of course.
Yeah, I find that hard to believe.
Yeah. But, of course, getting back to the core of the topic. So as we start pushing these policies, as we start pushing forward with giving people the ability to prosper and actually giving them the infrastructure to prosper, because again, they can't prosper without the infrastructure. Especially as we start approving more refineries, we start approving more pipelines, we start approving all the things that are going to be needed in order to fuel the expansion of industry across the nation. It's going to become more and more important. And as time goes on, hopefully, the Black population of the United States realizes what is going on and they join in. Because I don't want them to be left behind. I don't want them to be suffering in squalor in Detroit. I want them contacting fucking the federal government being like, hey, I need help moving to this city so that I can work. And then the federal government being like, yes, we'll help you. That's what I want to see.
Nice.
Real quick, we need to take a pause. I need to do trucks.
All right, no worries.
Oh my God. Fuck off. It's political season, boys. I'm getting political text again.
Right, already?
Yep.
Who
Now
is
remember, there's a bunch of special elections going on this year.
Who is trying to get your vote now?
It was donating to Act Red.
Ah.
I haven't gotten any of those. I'm surprised.
I made like 30 phone calls like 2 weeks ago, just calling different groups and telling them, take me the fuck off your call list. Like, I donate to particular people for particular reasons. I am not going to donate to your funds.
Yeah, bucket
Hey, bro,
donation.
which one are you taking? Have a good night, man. But no, it's annoying as hell from my perspective, because since I'm technically on call all the time, I kind of have to be ready to jump whenever I get a call from or a text from my manager.
Mm-hmm.
When I get texts, randomly at all times, it's like, okay, this really fucks me up. Please stop fucking texting me. It's like, I want to be contacted by particular people and particular people only. Fuck off.
Yeah.
Looks like I'm lucky today. I don't have nearly as many trucks to fucking log today.
All right.
Yesterday was fucking terrible.
Hey, Warhound, you're going to love this.
Now all of
That Bay M14 chick I was telling you about, she's part
Yeah.
Italian, but she didn't know what a cannoli is.
What?
Correction. She didn't know how to make a cannoli. My bad. She's part Italian, but doesn't know how to make a cannoli.
That's even worse.
Mamma mia! Her grandmother would be
told-
so disappointed.
I told her to hand over her wooden spoon.
Such an outrageous thing. She needs to be barred from talking with her hands
At
for
all.
life.
that.
But here's the thing, though. What cheese do you use? Ricotta or mascarpone?
For cannoli?
I misjudged because I missed.
Yes.
For cannoli, it's ricotta.
Also, still sealed in the box.
Italian are not using ricotta over mascarpone. Oh my god. Jeez. Italians really do fight over recipes.
Oh, yes.
They're not.
I'm Helvetian. I use ricotta for everything.
What exactly is Helvetian?
I am so
What
jealous
part of-
of you right now.
Italy is that referred to?
Helvetia is
I don't.
It's northern
Hmm.
northern Italy, edge of the Alps into the Alps. Technically speaking, part of it lands in Switzerland, but the edge or the area that my family originates from is right there on the edge in the Italian part.
Oh. So is that the part that the French may be trying to take?
Yes, it's part of it.
Interesting.
And it's funny because it's really funny because the Wignats, as soon as I say I'm Pict and Helvetian, one, most of them know what that shit means because they're, obsessed with the Roman era. And when they hear that and they hear me refer to it directly, it tends to throw them for a loop because they're like, wait, this guy actually knows, like, he's from these people? Ah, shit. I'm literally their fucking, like, their chosen one. Like, I am literally the white guy's white guy, and the fact that I hate them, it pisses them off so much. It's fucking great.
Well, then they ought to take a hint from that and start reevaluating their life choices.
Yes. And, well, I mean, when you're a white nationalist / white supremacist and your guy is a homosexual Mexican, you should probably begin reevaluating your life choices already.
Hey, they're just mad they didn't get to give Nick any sloppy topics back.
Yes.
Hey, it's as I said before, the only savior I'll accept for the white race is a brown woman. If you know, you know.
Yeah.
Shut up.
I better shut up because I think Mel heard me say that and it got her mad.
All right, I'm almost done, boys.
Excellent.
No worries.
It annoys me doing this at work because I do have to do my rounds, but at the same time, it fills the day. So.
How many times a day do you have to do the trucks?
Twice. Yeah, technically I should do it 3 times, but I work it in a way to make it, 2 times.
Fair enough.
Remember, guys, I'm lazy.
Oh, we're aware.
Really, I couldn't tell.
Not gonna lie, I am super jealous.
It's not laziness, it's efficiency.
Oh, yeah, that reminds me. I had a question I was going to ask you. What the hell do you do if you have some hobo hanging around?
Remove them from the property.
Have you ever had to remove a hobo? Or
Not here. Not here, but other places.
Have any of them ever
Yeah.
become
What's got to be the most interesting security guard story you can tell us?
Okay, so I was actually on my day off. I had forgotten my bag, which, remember, I used to carry my carry gun in my bag when I was working. I'd forgotten my bag at the hospital because I had gotten called to another site during my shift, and they needed me over there ASAP because the guard in question, he had a medical emergency.
Well, at least
So I rushed out.
Yeah.
He was at one of the auxiliary clinics, but yeah, he was at a university hospital. That's the company I used to contract to, but he was at a university hospital facility. So what ended up happening is I walk in as a shit show is going on in the lobby where a gentleman is yelling at a couple of the security guards that are on duty. And everybody's kind of like, what the fuck is going on? It's kind of a bit of a shit show. I lock eyes with the security supervisor, and I just smile. And he's like, oh shit, Mike's about to do something. I fucking grab him from behind and fucking put him in a rear naked.
Nice.
And then proceed to have the guy in that hold for about 10, 15 minutes. He's sitting there. He's actively struggling while we're trying to put the cuffs on him. My supervisor then proceeds to get mad at me because I went hands-on with somebody out of uniform. I looked at him and I said, it didn't look like you guys had that situation under control at all, because he looked like he was about to beat the shit out of Booker and then beat the shit out of you with Booker. Now, Booker, mind you, Booker, he's not a slouch. He's a good guard, good cop. Problem is, the dude was about twice his size overall. And I'm like, yeah, no, I wouldn't want to take a one-on-one fight with this guy. But me coming up behind him and putting him in a rear naked, dude didn't have a shot in hell as soon as Booker jumped on him.
Right.
So what ends up happening is my supervisor tries to write me up. And my manager calls me, and he's like, so you got written up today? I was like, oh, really? That's nice of Duncan to do since I saved his ass. And he's like, can you give me a rundown of what happened? I'm like, I walked in. I had forgotten my bag at the site because you guys called me over to Otis Moss, the day prior, and I just forgot my bag. I was coming up to get it because I was in Cleveland anyways to go to an appointment, and just walked in on it and proceeded to handle the situation. Because the dude looked like he was about to start fighting Booker. And he's like, that's what the cameras look like. And that's exactly, you laid out exactly what you did. So honestly, I'm just going to rip this up and throw it in the trash. And I'm like, thank you. So that was the fun one. And then there was the attempted abduction that occurred, which I wasn't even actually aware initially what happened. I just happened to be walking. So I was walking out in behind this woman and this child. I didn't initially see the badge on her front. Turns out she was a CPS worker. She had brought the child into an appointment. Well, all of a sudden, I'm walking out behind her to go back outside, and I hear a car come screeching into the parking lot from the other side. Well, then, as the two men in the car jump out to grab the kid, they see me. And I'm like, you want to go? What are we doing here? And I had already gotten in front of the two in front because I'm like, what the fuck is going on? They immediately jumped back in the car and sped off. And I'm like, what the fuck just happened? Then that's when I realized, when I saw the CPS worker, I'm like, they were here for him, weren't they? And she's like, yes, that was his mom and her boyfriend. And I'm like, okay, you go the fuck back inside. And then I immediately radioed my supervisor, hey, we just had an attempted kidnapping. I'm sending the victim inside with the child. Get them into a secure location. And then cops show up, that whole shebang, so on and so forth, yada, yada, yada. So yeah, inadvertently prevented an abduction just by walking back out at the right time.
Also,
good.
Good man. Very good man.
Did your supervisor try to write you up for that too?
No, but he got. See, here's the funny part. On a personal level, later, a few months later, he attempted to do like a pseudo intervention with me, with our assistant supervisor, because me and the assistant supervisor weren't seeing eye to eye on shit.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I'm sitting there and I'm just like, I don't even know what you're bitching about. Like, I don't get it. Like, I'm doing my job. I'm handling myself admirably. You know, what is the actual complaint here? Well, she just feels like you don't respect her, blah blah blah. And I'm like, I have nothing against her. She's overbearing. Like, she's just overbearing. And then, you know, it kind of turned into a bit of a shit show. My manager stepped in and was like, "No, she can be overbearing. Like, like, she's one of my main people. She can be overbearing. So, like, stop giving him a bunch of shit. He's just getting used to having you around." And then me and her ended up working together perfectly fine.
Oh, that's good.
Do me a favor, Warhound. Check the side chat real quick.
Oh dear.
Give me a split second. I'm almost back to the guard check.
Yeah, that might not be the sort of image you want someone to be looking at work.
Oh. I fucking hate when you say shit like that, Dale, because I know it's something.
I mean,
It is not lewd.
it's not the worst, but people can see. Yeah.
Yeah,
It may lead people to form certain conclusions that are not ideal.
You know, the only game I am.
Well, here's the thing. Here she really did grow up in a very bad home environment. Her mother had a fucking neo-Nazi as a boyfriend and stayed with him for a while. It's a million wonders she turned out as good as what she did.
All right, what bullshit is he posting? Oh, yeah. Yeah, I've seen this meme before. I've seen that meme. Yeah, it's a sad meme. It's a very sad meme.
Right now, you know how my hair would be?
Yeah, but thankfully she turned out all right.
All right, let's get back to it, boys.
All right.
So, what we end up having, you know, ostensibly across the board, is we have a chance to fix a lot of the fucking problems that we had previously that were caused by the same people who are now ranting and raving against the guy who's trying to fix the problems. Like, that's the ironic part of this whole situation, is that the same people who are literally responsible for putting the country under the crunch that it is and destroying the integration of a population that was forced here against their will by the same group of people, by the way. It's kind of just, it's a wonderment why people don't realize how retarded these people are. It is a wonder. But, you know, unfortunately, there are going to be, and luckily, as you did point out, Dale, the voting records do show that it is changing. It is very much changing, and thank God, because the more people realize the truth and realize the facts of the situation, the easier it's going to be for us to do this shit. Yeah. And it's going to be glorious by the end of it.
Yeah, and also something that just came to mind, but like to point out the depravity of these people, not only had they reduced the black population, as you said, to essentially being second-class citizens and the hired help, they then tried to replace them as the hired help with fucking illegals. So...
Well, yes and no. So here's the reason why I say yes and no to that, is because it's not that they tried to replace them with the illegals, it's that the blacks weren't willing to do the jobs the illegals were willing to do. And so, ostensibly, it was, okay, we need this sector to be supported as much as possible, i.e. the agricultural sector and the food production sector. We need to import a population that's willing to work in those jobs. Now, yes, there's a lot of people that will then immediately be like, but Americans would be willing. No. If they had to import a population to work in those industries, that means that they didn't have enough people working in those industries. And I've heard the horror stories of working in, say, for example, a chicken processing plant.
Oh, yep, there is.
I can
I've heard the
confirm
horror
those. Been there, done that.
Yes. And you're not the only one I've talked to about that. So it's a simple fact that, they felt the need to do that because there weren't Americans willing to work in those positions. You know, one of the things that Halsey and me, because, you know, the tough conversations, and trust me, that space that me and Halsey were doing, where we had this particular conversation, it got real awkward real quick with a lot of people in that space, by the way.
I would imagine.
Because there were a lot of people in there that were bitching and whining and crying about illegals and whatnot. And me and Halsey pointed out and talked about it pretty freaking extensively. There are well over 100,000 medium to high industrial positions in this country that go unfilled every year. Easily 100,000. It's probably more than that, to be honest. But that's what the data shows.
It's probably more than that, because a lot of those positions say you already have to have 10 years experience to do it, but it's an entry-level position that they're trying to fill.
Yeah. There's a lot of that.
Oh, yeah. So they want... No, go ahead.
Yeah, sorry, go ahead. No, go ahead, William. Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, I was just going to say that it's... Okay, you're coming out of whatever school that teaches it, whether it's a college or a trade school or it's a technical school, whatever it may be, and it's an entry-level job, and they say, oh, I want 2 previous employers and 10 years experience. This is an entry-level job. This is literally the first position you're supposed to take after graduating wherever. Yeah, of course there's however many of them are available that aren't being filled.
Yeah, part of me suspects that is just so that they can then go to the government and say, hey, there are no Americans for this job. We needed some H-1B Indians. We couldn't fill it. No one met our criteria. Let's import Indians.
Well, you could have that suspicion, but you know the suspicion already, or the facts of the case already air themselves out. A lot of these companies get a lot of subsidies from the government if they have open vacancies and they're part of a critical supply chain.
Ah, I see.
They get a lot of subsidies in order to maintain operations. There's a lot of that. So they have an incentive not to hire enough people for these things. Because they're getting the government, getting the government dole. Now,
unfortunately,
what's hilarious about that is, you know, again, going back to the black community filled a lot of those industrial positions. A lot of them. Like, let's face it. Yeah, a lot of people are like, oh, but, you know, this company, that company. I'm like, yeah, what about all the other companies that were damn near 50-50? 50% white, 50% black. There were plenty of them. And we stripped those jobs away from the black community across the board. And hell, it impacted the white community as well. Because some of those companies just closed up shop completely or moved operations elsewhere. Thanks, Ronald Reagan. Mm-hmm. Now, again, I keep speaking about mid and high level industry because low level industry, like what China specializes in, there's no point in trying to import that into the U.S. You're not going to be able to pay enough to people to get them to work the positions. You're just not, because the margins are so slim anyways. It's unfucking real. Now, that's an unfortunate fact that it's like, okay, we as a country do need to reconcile the fact that, like, hey, you know, being able to buy my electric can opener for, you know, $15 versus $30, you know, that's probably going to have to change. Because there's going to have to be a lot of consumer goods that need to return to the U.S. in order to really offer a lot of these again, you're talking about entry level motherfuckers. Going back to the entry level stuff. There's going to be a lot of people that are going to have to be taught this shit, and eventually, after 5-10 years, they're going to be able to jump to the mid level or high level stuff, but they're going to have to start in the low level consumer side. They're going to have to. So eventually, yeah, I'm sitting here and I'm like, yeah, okay, it's nice being able to pick up my microwave for $100, but if I have to spend $150 to pick it up, fuck it, I'm gonna pay the $150 because I still need the fucking microwave. It's the same way with boot. I think the boot industry is actually one of the few industries that has already reconciled this problem. Because let's face it, the boots that are made overseas are dog shit. And, if I can get a good pair of Thurgoods, or I can get a good pair of fucking Red Wings or whatever, I'm going to fucking spend the money on those.
That's actually a really good analogy that I would not have thought of. Because, yeah, people, if they need a good pair of shoes or boots, will cringe, clench, and spend.
Yep.
But they also know that they're going to end up getting something that is, if not local to them, local to the well, usually they'll get something that's local to them, that's literally been made within driving distance or within overnight shipping on a truck.
Well, let me put it this way. So in the insurance industry, we refer to it as domestic, foreign, and alien.
Yeah.
So domestic is anything within the state. Foreign is anything within the United States. Alien is anything outside the United States.
Yeah, that's a very good way to describe it. So domestic. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's normally, Red Wing, for example. If I remember correctly, Red Wing's right there in Michigan.
I believe so.
So it's like, yeah, like you're right there in Michigan. By all regards, that's more than close enough to be domestic production for me.
Yep.
Foreign production would be talking like Thorogood, because I believe, if I remember correctly, Thorogood's made out in like Minnesota or maybe somewhere in that region. It's a little further away. So on and so forth. The alien production, for example, 511. 511, all their shit's produced in Vietnam at this point. There's a reason why, if you guys didn't know this, the CEO and founder of 511, I forget his name off the top of my head, unfortunately, he left, went to form his own company because he hated how the company was being ran. Now, unfortunately, a lot of his products are made overseas. They are alien products. But at the same time, the quality control is so much higher on First Tactical because they oversee the production. They're like, no, we do our own QC. We don't let the factory do our own QC. And so their shit ends up lasting for fucking ever. Like, I can tell you this right now. Like, the boots that I'm wearing right now, I believe the company's name Prosper or something like that. These boots, like, I've only had them for maybe 6 months at this point. And frankly speaking, like, they're starting to go to shit. The last pair of First Tactical boots that I bought, yeah, they're made overseas, but oh wait, I had those boots for over a year and a half, and they were still trucking along. I have them; they're in my trunk right now. Like, I was still using them a few months into this job before they required me to switch to a composite toe for the sake of the job, and those ones, they're a soft toe. But it's like, okay, whatever. But at the same time, those boots, they're gonna be used for when I start driving as part of my CDL training. I'm just gonna wear those. But the point is that at the end of the day, there's going to be a lot of reconciliation with the fact that, yeah, we're gonna have to pay a little more for shit in order to produce it here in the United States. But oh well. If we're all prospering beyond our fucking wildest imaginations, like, let's look at the tariff situation. We're approaching $500 million in tariffs already. It's only been 6 months.
It's not even been if you consider when the different tariffs have taken effect.
True. I will give you that. But let's just take it as a whole. It's not even been 6 months. Now imagine what a year is. A full fucking year. All of the tariff dues. If we're importing that much shit over the course of a year, excuse me, I'm cool with paying an extra $50 for shit. I'm cool with paying for a little extra to get something made here in the U.S. that helps people prosper here.
That's what I do with all of my boots and belts. Well, boots, shoes, and belts, but yeah.
Well, my belts, now the belt setup that I have for work is made overseas. But the belts that I wear as like my daily carry belt, they're made right down in Tennessee.
Yeah, I've got a guy that works out of his garage that I purchased from that is in actually it might be Tennessee as well, but in that area, and I'll drop $150 on one good belt.
So it took me 5 years to run through the Velcro on my carry belt. You know what I did?
What?
I bought a second belt, and then I was like, "Hey, how long's your turnaround on refurbished belts?" It's about 3 months right now. We're way behind, and I'm like, "Okay, I'll come back to you guys later because this belt it lasted me. The first belt lasted me 5 years. I literally bought an identical copy of the belt. Like, I'll just come back to you guys at some point in time and fucking send this one in a couple of years." And get it refurbed. Like, and literally what they do is that they literally just de-stitch the Velcro parts of it off and then sew new shit back on, and it's the same belt, it's just got the refurb Velcro on.
Yep.
That's it. And then at that point in time, I save, I spend $30 on the refurb, $10 on shipping, or, well, actually it'd be closer to $20 on shipping now because USPS is fucking garbage. Actually, I should probably start shipping shit through fucking UPS or whatever. But the point is that I save a chunk of money by refurbing the old belt, and then I still have two quality as fuck belts that I'm never getting rid of. I'm never going to get rid of them. I'm just going to keep using them for the rest of my life.
Yeah, I've got two belts from the guy I use. It's 2 layers of real good quality leather, and spring steel core.
Oh yeah, so you did a steel core leather belt. Okay, yeah.
I got a Kydex core and I got a steel core, and I've got a couple of them. And those things, you can't destroy them.
Yeah, mine are all nylon. But yeah. I just prefer how snug and tight I can get these things because it's a ratchet system. So you it's a Cobra buckle, you click it in and then you ratchet it down, and I can just get it nice and snug because I'm used to carrying a gun around. Like
yeah, same here.
Well, okay, let me rephrase. I'm used to running around with a gun on, running after people. So I need something that's gonna stay. But that's the point. Is like it's just a reconciliation that us as Americans are gonna have to go through. Period. End of story. And then as that reconciliation occurs, then we can start talking about bringing that low-level manufacturing back in, because we look at China. China doesn't have the population to fucking run their factory at all. Their population is aging out so quick, it's unfucking real. And they can't grow their population. Hell, I've heard rumors that they're talking about allowing resettlement of people from Myanmar that don't want to be in Myanmar anymore, allowing them to resettle into certain districts in China just to be able to bolster their fucking worker population.
Whoa.
So it's just one of those things where it's like, here in the U.S. we have to integrate the blacks. The whites and the blacks have to integrate. Period. End of story. At this point in time, you know, everybody, all the Wignats are like, oh, we need to send them back to Africa. And it's like, they have no connection to Africa. Just like how you have no connection to Europe, they have no connection to Africa at this point in time.
All right.
Ooh. You good there, brother?
Who disconnected and reconnected?
That was Will.
Oh.
He might be having Discord problems.
Makes sense. Discord has many problems.
You know, Discord's a piece of shit. Which is honestly why I'm wanting to switch to TeamSpeak again, because I'm like, fuck, this is so stupid.
Yeah.
But I'm also having problems figuring out how to fucking host my own TeamSpeak server, because the application for it doesn't want to fucking start properly. So it's like, fuck.
Unfortunate.
Okay, well, while we wait for him to come back.
So
He's a good-looking boot.
Oh, there you are, William.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, I was here the whole time. It just dropped my ability to speak.
Okay, there you are. Okay.
Sorry about that.
Oh, you're fine. You're fine. We were like, oh, he's having connection issues. Go ahead, Dale.
I was gonna say, on a bit more lighthearted topic, so, you know, are you aware that Milo Yiannopoulos and Nick Fuentes had been having a feud recently?
The gays are fighting?
Yes.
Okay.
There's just something I saw. It turns out, Milo just pulled a power move. Turns out he's gonna bang Nick's sister.
What?
Yes.
And he announced this, that he's going to do it?
Yes. And then he showed and then he took a screenshot of his phone with like a bunch of calls with his sister.
Oh my god! Oh my god!
Yes.
I love you, glorious bastard! Holy shit! Oh my god!
Oh, that's...
That is... Oh, Wignats will never recover from that.
No.
That's brilliant.
Oh, that's so good.
It is officially over for the Grapers. Milo's
my
fuck
god.
Nick's sister.
Oh my god.
That's brilliant.
Yes.
I love that man so much. like, okay, I've always had the position of like, okay, Milo, you're a fucking asshat. Like, you're just, like, I love the performance, but at the same time, it was so egregious and over the top that sometimes I was just shaking my head at it. But no, this motherfucker's power play is fucking Nick's sister to piss Nick off, and that's just so fucking good.
Yes.
Holy shit. Oh man. See, that's the funny part. So I absolutely fucking I despise you guys know me at this point in time. I despise anybody who is on the fringe. Like I am the radical moderate.
Yeah.
And
all right.
And it's a simple fact for me on a personal basis that, you know, it's like you people have no idea the shit show that's coming for you. Mm-hmm. And it's like I kind of want to just I want to go find that post by Milo and just you know that face that Longshanks makes when he's saying about when he's talking about breeding the Scots out of existence. Mm-hmm. I just want to find a gif of that. Just post that on under that post. It's like, fuck, dude. Oh my god. It's just fucking brilliant bastard.
Yeah.
That was a good laugh. I appreciate you greatly, Dale. That was a good laugh. But yeah, getting back on topic. But the Wignats, of course, they're freaking out about the blacks need to go back to Africa and shit like that. And it's like, no, they're Americans. They're firmly Americans. They have been here for 150, 160, 170 years. They've been here long enough at this point in time that they would be considered naturalized to the land. You're talking fucking 6 generations of Africans.
Yeah.
Like, or 6 generation of blacks. They are Americans, period, in the story. You don't get to take that away from them just because you feel a certain way. And it's the same thing we can say, even though the Chicanos are a bit idiotic with their bullshit, it's the same thing with them. It's like, okay.
I
think you might have cut out there.
Yeah, I think we lost. I think you probably got a phone call. Oh.
But yeah, picking up where I'm pretty sure he was going, I would say the one thing I would say, okay, you can get the Chicanos out of there, is if they at some point side with a foreign, if during a conflict they side with a foreign government, i.e. Mexico, against the U.S., then you denaturalize and deport them.
Yep. That's the only rational way of doing it.
Yes.
And reasonable.
Hi.
Hello.
Well, hello again.
Discord is fucking dog shit.
Yeah. It gets worse. It gets worse with time. Most things improve with time. Discord just gets worse. It gets more bloated, uglier, and less stable. Much like my ex.
I didn't know your ex was ever user-friendly.
Oh. But yeah. If you guys have any comments to make, at this point in time, I think I've covered the spiel enough. Like, we need integration. That's it.
I was gonna say the one exception I think you should or can make for the Chicanos in the realm of deporting them or not is if they end up siding with a foreign government during a conflict with the U.S., i.e. Mexico. At that point, I think they should be denaturalized and deported to said foreign government or foreign country.
Okay, you can make that argument. And honestly speaking, it's not an invalid argument. Like, I'll be honest, it's not an invalid argument whatsoever. The problem I have is that this idea that, they look like that group of people, so I'm going to treat them like shit.
Yeah, and I don't mean the entirety. Problem. I mean, like, the ones that sided with the government can go, the rest can stay. Right? If you sided with the U.S., you stay. If you sided with Mexico, go back to Mexico.
Yeah, and honestly, just drive a bus up to the border, fucking offload them at Juarez.
Yep.
Just make them walk the walk of shame down the middle. You remember that scene out of fucking Band of Brothers where the German army is surrendered and marching down the Autobahn?
Right.
Do that with them. just march them down the center divider of the border crossing and just do the walk of shame back over to Mexico.
That works for me.
But that's the thing is, like, now, yes, of course, there are populations that we need to be concerned with. Absolutely. The Chicanos, yes, they're a potential problem. The Islamic population, they're a potential problem.
Mm-hmm.
But I also maintain the fact that the Mormons? Oh, Jesus Christ. We need to build a wall around Utah and tell them they're not allowed to come out. Fucking Mormons.
Oh, the medical bills we have to deal with after about 2 more generations of that would be nightmarish.
Fucking, what do you mean? Wait. Okay. Fucking play that out for me. What do you mean?
The amount of inbreeding.
Oh,
Oh
They-
no, I think I lost you guys.
Right, they do the inbreeding too.
Mormons?
Yeah.
If you get them too close together, yeah.
Yeah, it is a problem. That's
There's a
why.
reason they all look the same.
Well,
Fair
there's
enough.
a reason why they have a doctrine. I don't remember what the person called it, but there's a particular doctrine where women in the Mormon community have to basically go on a micro pilgrimage to find a husband, and they have to bring it. Basically, it's to bring new DNA into the Mormon community.
Yeah, the Amish go out, go on Rumspringa to decide if they're going to become a full member of the community. Mormons go out to find somebody to bring into the community.
Yeah. But that's the thing is, like, at the end of the day, there are problematic populations that we will have to handle at some point in time, but we need to handle those after we handle the external populations.
Yes.
And at the end of the day, you know, handling the border, handling the illegals, handling all this, and then we can turn, like, hyper domestic. And then again, you know, integrating the black population fully and finally. You know, don't let the Democrats fucking derail that shit again. Because at this point in time, like, we've gone through multiple cycles of them derailing the integration to the point where now the blacks don't trust anybody. They don't trust anybody. And it's sad. Because it's like, I don't have anything against you motherfuckers.
To get back to where we were 12, 15 years ago, maybe 10 years ago, first term of Obama, halfway through, maybe the end of the first term.
Yes.
It's probably going to take us another 20 years at the rate we're going right now.
Yeah.
All because
Now-
of the damage he did in his second term to race relations.
Yeah.
He basically just started calling everyone racist.
Yeah. First term, he got into office by, quote unquote, bringing everybody together. We need to work
Yes.
together.
Next term.
Second term, it's how many little groups can I create that'll vote for me?
Yep.
And tear everything apart in the process. 50 years of race relations destroyed in 3 years.
Thanks, Obama.
Well, again, it's all cyclical. It's all about keeping the population from integrating so that we can, like, again, the prosperity that the United States can obtain. You look at the financial war that the Europeans have waged against us, from LIBOR to fucking trying to put price caps on things, tariffing specific things that we're very good at, like the automotive industry, you know, so on and so forth, specifically trying to keep us from being competitive in their markets specifically. It's like, no, like, we're here to compete. You don't get to fucking have a free lunch. Again, I will specify, once again, we are near $500 billion in tariff dues. $500 billion fucking dollars over 6 months. If we could hit $1 trillion in a year easily, oh brother, you have no fucking clue.
Yep.
Like, we're going to be sitting there like, holy shit, these people have been riding free for years. And so, you know, if we can finalize the integration of the black population in the United States, and then just go on a massive prosperity sprint where everybody, you know, we completely eliminate the working class, everybody's sitting in the middle class, the upper class has no fucking idea what to do with that. It's like they don't know how to handle a fucking bourgeois that fucking, it can't be controlled. And then it's like, oh yeah, no, politically speaking, they're fucked. Politically speaking, they're screwed.
Yep.
Yeah, unfortunately.
So real quick, let's just cover a couple small topics. So happened last week. We got the what was it? The Annunciation Church shooting.
Yes.
Ugh, yes.
That was a
Yeah, so-
very unfortunate event.
Church and school shooting, because it was a private school that had a church attached to it, or a chapel attached to it.
Yeah. Now this particularly stings for me on a personal basis because I plan on sending me and Poe have decided we're sending our daughter to private school, Catholic school specifically. So it does poke at me on a personal basis because I'm like, the first thing I'm asking the school when I show up to tour the school and actually decide if we're going to be putting her there is, hey, have you done have you had a security risk assessment done recently? And if they have, then I'm like, okay, when did you have it done? Because if it's not a recent one, I'm going to be like, I'd love to put my daughter here, but you need an updated risk assessment.
Yeah.
And then at that point in time, it's like, okay. So Shooter McFuckface, which honestly speaking, when I saw the picture, I was just like, oh my God, that chin is just so punchable. Yep. The simple fact is, the leftists are freaking out like, oh, it's a Wignat, it's a Nazi, blah blah blah. The Wignats are like, oh, it's a tranny, then it's tranny, then it's all for the yada yada. The simple fact is that I think it was I think that shit was through and through.
Say that again. It broke up on my end. Oh, it broke up on my end on that last part. You think that something?
I think it was
an op.
Yeah, because as soon as it happened, and as soon as the dust was barely settled, the Europeans immediately started blaming the Russians for it.
For the school shooting?
Well,
School church?
I think the reason they did it was because the person who did the shooting, so they had a journal, and in this journal they wrote English letters, like they wrote English words in Cyrillic as a sort of code, so that they could discuss this stuff and not get caught. Like if someone found the journal, they wouldn't do anything about it because they wouldn't know if they were planning the shooting. Because of that, I assume the Europeans just took that as an opportunity to blame Russia, because that's what they'll do.
Well, it wasn't just that either. It's because the Shooter McFuckface also had a profile on VK, and if you're not aware of what VK is, it's basically Russian Facebook.
I hadn't heard that part.
Yeah, me neither.
And so immediately the Europeans jumped on this, and they were pushing it hard and hard and hard and hard. And several of the evangelical crowd and several of the Puritan crowd here in the U.S. also jumped on this bandwagon. Thankfully, that situation was diffused completely because it was basically established that, former student felt angry over multiple things in their life, and they just went after the school because it was an easy target.
And also because so I had actually read someone translated the whole journal, and basically there's a certain type of person, like mentally deranged person, who is just obsessed with school shooters, and this was one of them. Like the entire diary starts out like just talking about like their obsession with school shooters, but like, oh, I could never do this myself. And slowly over the the pages of the diary, it gets more and more depraved, and like eventually stops being, oh, I could never do this myself, to okay, I'm gonna LARP doing this at home, and then by the end of it, it's like, okay, here's how I'm gonna do it. So I think this was just a mentally deranged person who, obsessed with like gore and shit and like school shooting, and who wanted to like get to the high, quote unquote, get the high score. And ironically, then only got a pretty low score. Let's just say so. L for them.
Well, and here's the thing: is again, I think I given what we know at this point in time, given some of the things that McFuckface has said in the journals and so on and so forth, it's like, okay, there's no coherent thought here. There's none whatsoever. Somebody who's incredibly easy to influence, incredibly easy to get to do things. Yes. What I would love to find out is social media. Yes. Now, the whole page on VK, I haven't heard anything extra other than that they did have a page on VK. But I would love to hear about communication on social media.
Yes. What sort of people were these?
Facebook, Twitter, Discord, all of it. I would love to hear about communication. Yes. Because it's like, who was communicating with them?
Yes.
Social media and long-term medication.
Yeah, if I had to bet, they'd probably be in communication with other similarly deranged people in groups that like form around this sort of thing.
Yeah, probably.
Whether those groups were authentically that sort of people, or people just or feds in trying to encourage this sort of thing, that remains unknown at the time.
Well, we do know. Okay, so I'll bring this up just because it is back in the news because the case is moving forward and everything. You heard about that cheerleader that did a bunch of shit that caused the death of her boyfriend?
Yes.
So
there's been a few cases like that, but I think I know which one you're talking.
But that whole case, the egging on of the situation is, I wouldn't be surprised to find out that there were plenty of Europeans egging it on. Let's just say that.
Could very well be.
Again, when you're talking about somebody that delusional and that somebody that deranged, they're very easy to influence. Yes. Very easy. So it's an unfortunate travesty. It's a situation where, it's definitely something in the forefront of my mind, simply because of my own personal situation. And it's crimes against humanity are a good thing. Just saying. Anybody out there who wants to think about, doing things, they won't find your body. Just saying.
Yes.
Was just letting you guys know, pigs are great. Anyways, go ahead.
I don't know if you were moving on to the next subject or not, but there is an addendum to that. I don't know if you have heard about or not. But that school had been part of a joint letter to the governor last year,
asking for more security, basically.
Asking for help for more security.
The government
after
said no.
The last Christian school shooting.
All right, the Nashville one.
The Nashville one. Thank you.
I'm not surprised, and honestly, given the fact that Tim Walz is the governor, I am not surprised that nothing was done.
Yes, Tampon Tim said no.
Yeah.
He'd rather allocate that money for more tampons in more boys' bathrooms.
Also, I would like to go ahead and actually add another addendum to that topic, specifically about about McFuckface's mother. Because, unfortunately, there was a lot of wig gnats that came out of the fucking woodwork that immediately started going like, oh, it's a Jewish mom, it's a Jewish mom. No, actually, she wasn't. She was Catholic. She was a Catholic that actually worked at the same school, by the way.
Yes.
Yeah, so, worked there from the year before the nut job graduated to a couple years afterwards.
Yep.
Nut job graduated in 2017. Mom worked there from 2016 until 2020, I think.
Yep.
It might have been 2020 or 2022. I forget which.
But the thing is that a bunch of people were speculating that, oh, the mom is responsible for this because she ran as soon as she heard the news from the state. In actuality, the woman was preserving her fucking life.
Yeah.
Because, as we saw with the Wignats, they immediately were calling for her fucking head.
Oh, I had not heard.
This is a key thing. Well, this was mainly on Twitter. Remember, the Wignats are mostly prevalent on Twitter. And they were calling for this woman's fucking body because they were, convinced that she was a Jew that was subverting our Christian nation and all that bullshit. And it was like, no, she pulled the same move that George Zimmerman did.
Yeah.
Remember when George Zimmerman fled after his acquittal because so many people had put a fucking target on his back?
Yep.
It's the same thing. And it's like, this woman had nothing to fucking do with this at all. She was just a mom that had a kid that was so fucked up it was unfucking real. And y'all targeted her as if she was the one that pulled the trigger.
Yes.
So, to all the Wignats out there, you're trash human beings, and I hope that you fucking die in a pit of fucking acid. Because I want it to be as painful as possible.
Seconded. Yeah. So...
Either that or give them membership in the AFD.
Yes.
The AFD would, you know what's funny about that? The AFD would definitely be poisoning them and whatnot just to get rid of them.
Yep. Night of the Long Knives too.
Electric Boogaloo.
Yeah, or as I've heard, or as I put it earlier today, Germany is doing the golden oldies, best hits of the 1930s.
Yes.
So just to move on to another small topic, we got the situation down in Venezuela.
Mm-hmm.
So there's been a lot of confusion around this, and it's I don't know where people, like, I guess there's just so much fervor against South America right now that people are just retarded. But hey, what's new? No, the United States is not invading Venezuela. This is what we refer to as an interdiction operation. They are specifically interdicting drug trafficking from the country of Venezuela because the country of Venezuela is primary in that. Give me a moment, guys.
Oh, yes, it would, but I want to have nothing to do with nation building for any time in the even remotely 50-year future.
Yes. Or no nation building, just just communist toppling, then leave.
Yeah.
Hey,
Over
boys,
the past 20
we need
years.
to do a pause real quick. I apologize. Well, you guys can keep talking. I need to go do something real quick. So the guy for our grease trap just showed up.
Fair enough.
Oh, fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just an oil basin, so it's not like major.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've over the past 20 years, we've had entire generation grow up while we were doing quote unquote nation building here.
Indeed.
Yeah. We forgot how to nation build after World War II.
Yep.
And that's debatable how successful that was.
Well, look at Germany today. Probably wasn't that successful.
Exactly.
Japan was successful.
Ironically, yes.
And we nuked them twice.
I think Japan was successful is because we were about the only ones that really had any influence over there.
Yes.
It was an island nation that we said, okay, you're ours now.
Yes.
But that's what happens when somebody touches our boats.
Mm-hmm. Well, as I often say, the first nuke we dropped on them made them normal. The second nuke resulted in anime.
Resulted in anime.
So here's the thing about Japan, and you actually keyed up on it, guys.
Mm-hmm.
It's because we were the only ones with influence. Europe, we had all the other European powers in influence. Notice how anywhere Europe doesn't have their hands stuck in it, everything works out. Weird.
If we can't have it, we're going to destroy it.
Oh, even more than that. Because they're convinced that they have primacy over the entire world. Look at their attitude towards fucking Africa, the French. Look at their attitude towards Africa. They're like, oh, these unclean Africans think that, they can tell us what to do. It's like, okay, fuck you.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, I have to take off for a while here in about another 10 minutes or so. After what Mom's been through the last couple of days here, it'd been like, not since last year, going to run over to Little Caesars and pick up like a Ultimate Supreme Pizza and one thing she realized, which is some of that pepperoni cheese bread.
Ooh.
Give her a little bit of a treat because she does like pizza, and she really liked that pepperoni cheese bread. So I figured, yeah, after what she's been through, with an infection and going to the dentist today and kind of tweaked her back, I'm like, yeah, I'll give her a little bit of a treat here.
Good idea.
Little Sleezers is a good treat.
Yeah, and it's about one of the only fast food places left where, for what they charge, it's actually worth the damn money.
Indeed.
Yeah, I'd go Little Sleezers and Domino's. Domino's is similar to that. If you know how to order off the menu.
Yeah.
Well, I'll go with Little Caesars because they set up, their little automated pickup deal.
Oh, those things are so good. Those things are so great.
Yeah, and they kept it around to where they just have the automated things in there. You can order it online. They give you the little 3-number code for your order. Then you can go over about the time it should be ready. And if it's ready, they got your name up the display board, what slot it is. You just punch in the code, grab your stuff, and you're in and out in like about a minute tops.
That's right. Oh. Question: is she going to be able to chew that after the dental work?
Well, she hasn't had any dental work yet. They want to get rid.
Okay, it was just a.
They want to get rid of the infection first.
Gotcha. That's right. And my testing corrected.
Yeah, but I mean, there yesterday when she was saying face, felt like it swelled up, and I had her felt, and it was like almost like her whole right cheek was like swollen up, and it felt hard, like there was something in it. And I'm like, okay, we need to do something about this.
Has the swelling gone down since? Like, is that going to affect the eating of the pizza, or? Well,
she seems to have been doing all right with. Well, she can't, manage the pizza. Probably manage the bread there, but
Right.
I'm thinking. Well, the one good thing about Little Caesars, other than grabbing DiGiorno's out of the freezer, which is going to have, after going through the oven, it's going to have a very hard crust on the bottom. No, Little Caesar's going to be somewhat moist and a lot softer to chew there as well.
This is true.
Yeah. Plus, Ultimate Supreme's going to be a little bit more tasty than a plain pepperoni.
What does the Ultimate Supreme come with?
Oh, they, basically just all the various toppings like, pepperoni and sausage and green peppers, onions, along that line there.
Sounds good.
Which makes it even softer because all that stuff has moisture in it.
Yeah. And if you eat it while it's still warm, it's, still going to be softer. But, yeah, it doesn't seem like she's been having any trouble eating her like that. She just, the side of her face is just swole up and such. But, yeah, I went through that last year. I had a problem with one tooth. It was actually sinus infection, and it moved down and started giving me pain in the other tooth. And yes, I went to the doctor because it's like, yeah, if that's an abscess tooth and that abscess ruptures, yeah, I could possibly end up in a pine box right there, depending on how bad it was.
Oh, absolutely.
So when I felt the side of Mom's face, I'm like, yeah, okay. Immediately call up my sister, who has went through all the training for being a nurse's aide and has been handling like her prescriptions and doctor's appointments and like it since she had that small stroke last year. And I said, yeah, you need to come out and take a look at her and see if we need to get her like over to urgent care like right now. And she came out, looked down in there, saw where it looked like had a problem with one tooth, where it was like had a black part right in the middle of it. And she said, I went through about the same thing. Yeah, it's got a bit of infection in it. Said, we'll get her over here to the emergency dentist tomorrow and have this checked out.
Yeah.
And it so turns out, basically, when she made emergency dentist appointment, it was with the same dentist that I switched over to and saw last year. So, and from what both my sister and my mom said, they were quite pleased with the service and the way they were treated up there. And I'm like, well, yeah, I picked the same place last year when the dentist I'd had for like 20 years retired, and one of the, let's just say, a Jeet took over his practice.
Probably made the right choice.
Yes. Matter of fact, nearly all my former dentist patients moved somewhere else.
How I've lost most of the different doctors I've gone to over the years.
One field that definitely does not need more H-1Bs is the field of medicine.
Indeed. You look in the yellow pages under doctor down here in this town, probably about half the listings, the last name is Patel.
Indeed.
All but one of my specialist doctors are either Indian or Pakistani.
That might be even worse. Generally
Indian I don't have a problem with. Pakistani I got an issue.
Generally when looking for a doctor, it's usually a good sign if their name ends in Steen or Man or Gold.
Oh, you broke up horrible.
I said generally when looking for a doctor, it's usually a good thing if their last name ends in Stein or Steen or Man.
Oh, yeah.
Lawyers, too.
It's MechWarrior 5 Mercenaries.
Oh, very nice.
They just came out with the most recent one for clans.
Yeah. It's nice that the MechWarrior series is still around. Surprising longevity towards it, because I know they were making MechWarrior games in the 90s. They're still making.
Before MechWarrior 5, I think it was almost a 20-year gap between MechWarrior 4 and MechWarrior 5.
Fair enough.
Well, it's about 10 minutes before the scheduled pickup time, which is about enough time to get over. So
All right.
I'm going to go ahead and take off, and if y'all still around, I'll be back when I get back here.
All right. Take care.
Okay.
Has it been that long?
Probably.
Actually, I'm gonna go look. I'm gonna go look while we're waiting for Warhound.
Fair enough. You still there?
I think it's just the two of us. 1 hour and 48-minute leap out.
Yeah. So I take notes on the show. So if there's a thing I should note, like, I'm taking notes so I know where, when I'm editing, if I have to bleep something out or cut, like, content before uploading.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it makes it a lot easier than having to actually listen to the whole thing to find out what has to be moved or muted or cut. I just take notes.
Yeah. Yeah, just so you don't have to listen to the whole thing to find the one-time skip. Yep.
Exactly. Most of the time, honestly, it's just like I don't know, this time in, bleep out f***, this other time in, bleep out f***, this other time out, bleep out nigger f***, and so forth. Speaking of which, 149.
Well, we kind of got dead air here anyways until Warhound comes back.
Yeah. Yeah, another thing I'm going to want to mention, I'm assuming that you witnessed the whole, like, conspiracy mongering about Trump being dead over the past week.
Yeah. I thought it was both highly amusing and incredibly pitiful.
Indeed. It's like, first he was dead, then he apparently had a stroke, and then, like, yeah. And now he's just fine.
Frontal lobe dementia as well.
Yep.
When I saw that one, I actually did a spit take.
Mm-hmm. They've been saying that forever.
I was eating something and not eating something.
Yeah.
All right, sorry about that, boys.
No worries.
Oh, no.
You got back just as I wanted to bring up the next topic, so perfect timing, actually.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, so I thought we had to talk about the left-wing conspiracy mongering over the past week about apparently how Trump died because he hadn't been seen for a day. And then he didn't die, he just had a stroke, and then, a couple days later he does his press conference, he's fine.
Yeah, and then after, maybe he didn't have a stroke, he's got frontal lobe dementia.
Yep.
What?
And it's like, see, look at this evidence here. Have you seen
the European?
Sorry?
Have you seen the European takes?
No. What were they saying?
They're convinced Vladimir Putin poisoned him while they were in Alaska.
Really?
Yes. Yes. That's how deranged these fucking idiots are and how desperate they are for this man to die. Because they're like, if he just dies, maybe we'll have a chance of salvaging our operations.
Yes. Whereas he's probably going to actually have less. Like, J.D. Vance seems more anti-Europe than Trump.
Oh, he is. He is.
So it's like, if he does, you're even more screwed.
Trump, not Vance. Yeah.
No, it's actually funny because it's actually really ironic that you brought that up. So Anonymous is like here. Let me actually pull it up real quick. Anonymous has been carrying out a secret operation to identify all MAGA terrorist propagandists and build cases around them. When Trump goes down, they're all going down. Some might even go for a boat ride. And my only reply to that is, well, good luck, have fun, and when the Reapers come knocking at the door, just die quietly. You do us all a much greater favor.
Yeah.
It's comical that these people, they're just so desperate to get the opposition out of the way because they have never had to deal with opposition. They have never had to deal with somebody actually attacking them. And so now they're just desperate for people to die. Just like they were desperate for the Ukrainians to die for their war with Russia.
Yep.
And now they're sitting there wondering, like, wait a minute, crap, the Ukrainians are falling apart. shit, France, quick, get in there. And I'm like, oh, I'm going to love watching the frogs die. I'm going to love it. It's like, I have no sympathy for these people. And again, as I discussed this a little bit with my dude David on a thread that or on a post that he did. And I'm like, the consent of the governed is very, very real. And if they consent to this, that's the policy that they support. Now, then he was like, yeah, but, and I'm like, no. And the only way they prove their innocence is by overthrowing their governments. And he's like, well, that's easier said than done. And I'm like, the effort's enough.
Yes.
The effort shows that they don't believe in this shit. And if they show that effort, then I'm willing to come to their aid. Like, if they show the effort, then at that point in time, I'm happy to say we need to put boots on the ground in the UK. We need to put boots on the ground in fucking France. We need to put boots on the ground in Germany. We need to just fucking occupy these places and fucking just put them through a rigorous reconstruction process. Like, these motherfuckers want to be Japan so bad, we will turn them into Japan.
Yeah. Well, from what I've seen with the
hopefully -2, star drops on them.
Yes. From what I've seen, UK looks like they might be getting kind of close, because, like, they're getting fed up.
I've actually let up on the UK the past week, like, very hard, because I said it earlier, and I'll say it again just for the sake of the podcast. If Charles does what he needs to do right now and dissolves Parliament, then I will straight up say there's a chance for the United Kingdom. There is a chance. For the first time in their entire existence, there is a chance that they might be able to get out from under the boot of this bullshit.
Yes. And all it took was importing hundreds of thousands of Pakistanis until they reached a critical level of rape for them to, finally get it.
Well, to be fair, to be fucking fair, that was a policy of their government.
Yes.
Like, a lot of people do not seem to understand this. The whole Great Replacement thing, it wasn't the Great Replacement. It was the Great, we need workers. We need to be able to sustain our tax base. We need to be able to do this. We need to be able to do that. We need more men for the fucking army. That's what it was. It wasn't the Great Replacement of white people. It was, we are trying desperately to maintain our system so people don't kill us.
All right.
Yeah, sounds about right, unfortunately.
And the problem is that when you invite a massive population into your country and you don't go through assimilation and integration, what do you get?
Yeah.
UK 2025.
Yep.
Yeah.
And especially...
Which is really ironic. It's really ironic, actually, going back to the first topic that we covered in this podcast, it's almost like integrating the blacks in the U.S. would save us a lot of pain and heartache. Weird. Because they're assimilated. That's the fun part about it. They're fucking assimilated. They're just not integrated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
2-step process, motherfuckers.
Yeah. Now, the Pakistanis, on the other hand, in Britain, that seems like a population much harder to integrate or assimilate.
It's because they don't want to.
Yeah. And, like, unfortunate truth, a lot of those fuckers are inbred. Like, real inbred. Compared to, say...
Oh, that's no joke. 30%... Oh! I can't remember which the 30% applies to.
Mm-hmm.
It's either 30% of them are quite literally inbred, or 30% of all of their medical expenses are because of diseases caused from inbreeding.
I think it was 30% of them in total, which is a wild number.
That's what I'm thinking too.
Yeah, and I guess,
Well, you look at you. Here's the fun part, and we can discuss this in terms of Korea. Look at Korea.
Mhm.
Korea has a rule. It's an unspoken rule, but it's a rule within their society that if you share the last name of somebody, because remember how last names were or how last names happened in Korea. If you share a last name with somebody in a city, there is a better than 90% chance that you are related and you cannot date them.
Hmm.
Really?
It is a cultural taboo to date somebody who shares your last name, even though last names are associated with the lords of that region. You cannot date somebody with your same last name in the same town that you're in or city.
Interesting.
It's considered culturally taboo because of the threat of inbreeding.
Right.
Yikes.
You might not have any relation to this person whatsoever. They came from a totally different part of the country and moved to your city. It's still completely taboo to date them because they share the same last name.
Yeah.
That's a little spooky.
Well, I guess it worked because Koreans are not known for being inbred, like say Pakistanis are. Maybe they should.
They are very short.
Yeah.
But no, here's the thing: is at the end of the day, you're talking about a population that, yes, you're absolutely right, Dale. It's a population that does not integrate very well. There's a reason why they wanted their fucking country from India.
Yes.
They don't integrate into any other group other than themselves. Hell, there is a pseudo demarcation zone between Afghanistan and Pakistan that is borderline uninhabited because of the fact that the Pakistanis have caused so many problems, that the Pashtun tribes in the Indo-Kush, the Pakistanis have caused so many problems that the Pashtun tribes there have basically said, okay, fine, we're just going to shoot you on sight.
Really?
Like they've skirmished for years. They again, there's a whole region where it's borderline uninhabited because the Pakistanis have been pushed out of that area so heavily.
That's pretty bad. I mean, I knew some of that, but that one part, that area is just no man's land, quite literally. That part I did not know.
Oh yeah, no, again, if I remember correctly, there are a couple Pashtun tribes that do exist in that area that are technically Pakistani, but they're Pashtun first, Pakistani last. That do exist in that area, but they haven't been the ones fighting with the Pashtun on the Afghan side of the border. It's been like, no, the actual this Pakistani government will send patrols through there and they get shot at all the time.
Yikes.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing with Iran. The Iranian border with Pakistan, like they're constantly fucking fighting over there. Because it's just the Pakistanis have been crowded into an area simply because I tell Indians all the time. It's like you have to figure out the Pakistani question. It's either you force the integration and you reabsorb them and you force it hard and you beat them over the head with it, or you go the happy, fun, camp side of the equation, and then at that point in time, well, the problem's solved anyways. But which way are you going to become vilified by the rest of the world, or are you going to be the evil dictators for a few years? Like which way you want to go? Evil dictator, vilified by the rest of the world for the rest of the time. That's your choice.
Yeah.
That's a problem.
Yeah.
Well, and the Brits, when it comes to the Brits importing Pakistanis specifically, and why that's such a key thing, is because Pakistanis because they do their thing. They're very tribal in general, and so they will collectivize in areas. And typically speaking, the authorities don't have to fucking worry about them trying to burn shit down. But then they do their thing that ends up terrorizing the local populace, and then the authorities are sitting there like, "Huh, you're keeping the local populace in line." Huh. Yeah, don't respond to that call. Don't respond to that call. The bureaucrats in the UK know exactly what they're doing. They know. And that's why the only hope and only shot that nation has is if Charles dissolves Parliament, which is poetic given the fact that his namesake, everything like that.
It is ironic, yes.
But if he was a half decent father, he'd fall on his sword, open the way for his son, and then his son would come in and fucking fix everything. So, just saying.
Well, there's that, or we also could just have another Oliver Cromwell type of situation.
Another what?
Oliver Cromwell.
Cromwell.
Yeah.
Oh, Cromwell.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we could have 21st century's new Oliver Cromwell, this time named Tommy Robinson.
No, it's a different situation. It's a different situation altogether. Back then, it was the crown and the bureaucrats fighting, and the people got caught in the middle. And Oliver Cromwell was able to rise to prominence because he was for the people. It's a totally different situation. In this case, the crown has the opportunity to take the side of the people. The circumstances are distinctly different. So the rise of an Oliver Cromwell style figure isn't possible because it would be the crown asserting its authority on the part of the people. So different dynamic. And again, as I said, it's the only shot whatsoever that they have.
Right.
Interesting.
No, it's fucking diabolical to think about, but it is the truth. Like, the elected government is the problem because they rig the elections to make sure that they win every time.
Yeah.
Wonder where we've seen this before.
Unfortunately.
Yep.
Wonder where. But it's unfortunate, but what can you do? You gotta, unfortunately, great measures must be taken to preserve nations.
Yes.
Just like Trump right now, taking great measures to preserve the republic, even though these monarchist twats want to be like, oh, the republic has failed. It's like, no, it hasn't. And if you want to say the republic has failed, I'm going to assume that you're part of the group that's trying to make the republic fail. Which I guess that is a discussion that needs to be had. Again, we've identified that the Whignats and the Puritans, ideologically speaking, they're two different sides, but their goals and their intent seem to align so much that it's like, I wonder if there's a saying for this. Oh yeah, two sides of the same coin? Oh, weird. Very peculiar. Yeah, well.
Yeah, it's similar to that time when I was at one point invited to join a server on Discord that was rather pro-Confederate, and after talking to the people for some time, eventually you got it out of them that the American Revolution just shouldn't have happened in the first place. It's like,
Yep. Well, again, and this is something that has kind of had to reconcile with, and he has reconciled with it. The Confederacy was propped up by the British elite. and the French elite, but mainly the British. And then at the end of the day, who fought most vehemently against the United States? It was the British royalists that were left in the South after the Revolution. You know, the American Civil War was the final act. You know, that's, you know, there's a thing that Tom Luongo has been doing. He refers to the American Civil War as the Third American Revolution.
Yeah.
And he's not wrong. You have the First American Revolution, which is 1776. The Second American Revolution was 1812. The Third American Revolution was 1861. And then the Fourth American Revolution is what's going on right now. Because, unfortunately, they managed to sneak their way underneath our noses in the 19-teens when they instituted the Federal Reserve Act, which gave us a Bank of England style central bank, and the 17th Amendment, which removed our ability to remove senators that we don't like.
Yes. Why was 1812 the Second American Revolution?
Because 1812 was us asserting ourselves within the global trade. That was the main crux of it. A lot of people think about the land campaign. No, it wasn't the land campaign that mattered in 1812. It was the naval campaign. And we boofed the fuck out of the Brits. Like, the Brits were so tied up fighting Napoleon, and of course you had the Battle of Trafalgar.
Right.
But they were so tied up fighting the French that we boofed them hard. And it allowed us to assert ourselves on the global stage as a naval power. Which the British had been trying to prevent for years up to that point. And 1812 does roll into what we call the Barbary Wars. It's same shit, different day.
So my understanding of the Barbary Wars was just basically fighting like Muslim pirates in the Barbary states. What am I missing here?
Muslim pirates being supported through intelligence from the British.
Huh.
They were paying off the Muslims to raid American shipping on purpose.
Interesting.
Yep. And then when the Americans showed up, Morocco folded immediately because Morocco had been dealing with the Brits for years up to that point, and they fucking hated the Brits. That's why Morocco folded immediately, because they're like, thank fucking God there's a new kid on the block. Oh, by the way, who is the longest running treaty that we have, treaty of friendship that we have in the world? That's right, Morocco.
Uh-huh. That one I knew.
But then you fast forward, and much of the situation that occurred in the Barbary states at the time, the British were in the background, either trying to help supply arms and munition to the Muslims and or stifling our ability to operate by feeding intelligence to the Barbary states. Yeah. It was a whole fucking thing. So across the board, like, that was a distinct part of the War of 1812, asserting because we had beaten the Brits in the case of 1812, we had beaten the Brits at sea. And frankly speaking, we did kick their asses on land, but we had to fight a fighting retreat because we couldn't stand up and fight against their full land army. But by the time they got to fucking Washington, burned the White House down, and then tried to cross the Potomac, and then all of a sudden the Marines said, "Nah, you ain't crossing this fucking river." Then all of a sudden they're like, well, shit, we can't cross the river, and okay, fuck it, let's go home. Because then there were forces moving in behind them, and they were like, oh shit, we're at risk of being cut off right now. Fuck. So that's why they retreated back north and returned to Quebec.
Right.
Or no, not Quebec, Niagara Falls, Ontario.
Oh, so that's where they came from?
Yeah, they came from that region down into New York, down into Maryland, and into Washington, D.C. But then, you know, of course, you had the Barbary Coast stuff. And then, follow on from that, the American Civil War. And then now, the Fourth American Revolution is fully in swing, and this is the final stage of the American Revolution. Because now we have economic predominance in the world. They don't. And so if we can kill their ability to influence our monetary and fiscal policy, we already did that. SOFR killed LIBOR. Now we have to kill their Forex market. 30% of the world's Forex is settled in British pound. If we can kill that, City of London's done. They have nothing left. And that's why their last-ditch effort is trying to get us involved in a war in Ukraine. They're trying to muddy the waters with the Epstein shit. They're trying to do this. They're trying to do that, et cetera, et cetera. They're throwing everything at us that they can to try to prevent us from being able to crash out their Forex.
What is the U.S. doing currently to try to do that?
Crypto. And Will, you made a comment about not liking the fact that the U.S. government is talking about adopting Bitcoin and XRP and whatnot, but this is how we do it. Because if we can settle stuff for a lot cheaper, and we have control of the settlement of currency and transactions in general, all of a sudden the SWIFT system becomes irrelevant. And that's where the majority of the Forex comes from for the British, is settling the SWIFT system.
Oh, I get that. It's not so much crypto itself. It's the thought of anything even remotely resembling a CBDC.
Oh no, that's not what this is.
No, I know
Again,
that's not what it is. I said anything resembling it is.
Well, yeah, I
a more
understand.
than slightly disturbing thought.
No, I understand that, but this is the point. Jerome Powell does not want a CBDC. Scott Bessent does not want a CBDC. Fucking Donald Trump does not want a CBDC. They do not want that shit, because here's the key thing. Why are the Europeans pushing a CBDC?
So that they can control their population more.
Nope.
No?
Nope.
No, not because all they have to do is click one button and it turns off somebody's bank account.
Nope.
Or they can go and look.
How many times have the Europeans defaulted and had to reissue their currencies?
Many times.
Hundreds of times. The U.S. never has. You can take a banknote from 1865, and you could walk into a store and use it. We have never defaulted on the U.S. dollar. We have never had to reissue the U.S. dollar. We had never had to go and reissue a new, totally different currency.
Right.
The Europeans need a CBDC to integrate their economies on the cheap. Us, we need Tether to kill SWIFT. We need Bitcoin to act as a bearer asset for leveraging debt. That's it. That's what we need. We don't want to get rid of the US dollar. Why would we? We've never had to reissue it. We've never defaulted on it. Why get rid of something that everybody in the world knows is good?
True.
CBDCs here in the U.S., that whole push that they were doing in second term Obama and trying to convince Trump to do in his first term, and what they were trying to do on the sly in Biden's term, that was all because they needed to kill the ability for the Americans to destroy the Forex trade. That's all it was. Because they needed to get rid of the US dollar so that the digital euro could take predominance in the world.
All right.
Okay.
Oh, by the way, you ever heard of gold-backed tips?
I've heard the term, but I'm not entirely familiar with what it is.
So gold-backed
Yeah.
tips is the concept of, and this is the basic concept, of bifurcating the dollar, having a domestic and international dollar. The domestic dollar being pegged 30% to gold. Judy Shelton. Go read her white paper. It's illuminating.
Interesting.
By the way, who is potentially going to replace Scott Bessent at Treasury when he moves over to the Fed?
The same person?
Judy fucking Shelton. Per my understanding, she's on the short list.
Interesting.
Oh yeah. No, this whole situation. Anybody who talks about CBDCs at this point in time in the American zeitgeist is an op. They are a European shill. Or they're libertarian, which, there's not much difference. No, the libertarians are just useful idiots for the Europeans. Nice, easily controlled opposition.
All right, that's fair. That's fair.
Anyways, I think we kind of went all over the place on this one, but hey, what's new? Let's tie it up there.
All right, sounds good. Anything else anyone wanted to say before we end this episode? Going once, going twice. That's all, folks. See you next week.